Namath again faking, quickly finds his target.
Now cuts in. He's at the 40-yard line. He's at the 40.
Quick drop throws in the end zone.
Each number represents an expectation, a challenge that only a championship tradition can issue.
Pressure. Anders hits him. The ball is loose.
Alabama, here comes the heat. Cornelius Bennett. Whoa, did he get lit up?
It is an endless passing of the torch that urges the wearer to enrich his legacy.
Brings pressure up the middle in a hurry. They can't get away from Dante.
Alexander first down and more. Richardson breaks free on the sideline. Turns it corner. Can you say goodbye?
Because at Alabama, tradition is not retired. It is built.
Does put a smile on my face.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Sunday. It is Sunday. Let's see. It is September the 15th, the day after 2023. I hope y'all are doing good this morning. We are trying a new show this morning, and I'm very excited about this, and I hope you will enjoy it, and as much as I am looking forward to this. So I want you to know what the name of this show is today. It is called Barbershop Talk. I have a host / co-host, however you want to look at it. But this is the man, the one and only. And I'm so proud he agreed to do this. And guys, I hope you enjoy this. Mr. Van Edwards, please come right on, brother.
BAMA is back as the champion.
Catch. Devontae Smith. Risky throw picked up by Patrick Surtain.
Woo. Good morning.
Man, I love that intro. Always have, always will.
Ain't it a great one?
Man, it gets me fired up.
Yeah, they but one that beat yours, and that's mine.
Hey, I'll take that. I like yours too.
Oh, I do too. I like yours and mine. We got several good ones on there. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. We try to introduce this show as the Barbershop Talk, and I think people will follow along as we go along what we're trying to do here, and I think they will enjoy it once they get used to it. I'm really excited that you agreed to come on here and give this a whirl. I look forward to it, and I want to know, before we actually get into it, what do you think? We're now in the cigar week.
We are definitely in Tennessee hate week, and trust me, I really hate Tennessee. But you know, I'm not going to take nothing away from them either. They had a loss to Florida. I think they figured some things out. They've leaned on their run game a little more. They really impressed me yesterday, being able to run the ball against Texas A&M. That's not a team that's easy to run the ball on. I mean, we should know that from last week.
Yeah.
We didn't run the ball very successfully against them, but oh yeah, Tennessee game's always a big one, always a big rivalry game.
Well, I thought about that game myself. I think Tennessee beat them by 7 points, if I remember right. We beat them by 6. The big difference is we played them at their house. They're the 12th man. Texas A&M here, I figured they had a lot to lose this game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm beginning to wonder about Jimbo Fisher. Is it worth paying his money to keep him or to get rid of him? This could be a season that, like I said before, he could be a rich man with nothing to do. What does Texas A&M want?
That's not really a bad place to be. I wouldn't mind being a rich man with nothing to do either. But at the same time, yeah, you've got to wonder. I mean, his ability to recruit can't really be questioned. On paper, they've got a top 10 program and should have had the last 3-4 years. But he's not getting the most out of his talent. And I don't know if it's the play calling. I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know exactly what it is. But, yeah, you've got to think at some point, do the boosters get together and try to buy him out sooner than later? I know it's a big chunk, but
They got the money.
Oh, they've got the money. Yeah. If it's a Texas school, they've got the money.
Oh, yeah. Hey, good morning, Jeff Stapleton and Mr. Jones. Glad y'all made it.
Good to see you, fellas.
Don't know how much of a chat room we'll be running, but we will be checking out your comments to add on to the show. So y'all keep them coming. All right, let's see here. Tennessee. Yeah, I was kind of rather, I ain't going to say I was impressed. They are leaning more on that running game. I am looking forward to this game. This is revenge week for us, I feel like. Now, with a team that we've been seeing, kind of makes you, is it really?
Alabama right now, man, I don't want to be too negative because, I mean, we are surviving. You know, we're not necessarily winning like we're used to, but that's okay. You know, we're young in a lot of spots. We're still trying to figure out things. We still, I mean, our quarterback's got, 7 starts under his belt altogether. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things there that we should actually be proud of, the fact that we're 6-1 right now, because it could definitely be a lot worse.
Jeff said the Vols had 14 penalties yesterday. I hope they have that many more again.
The referees may have carpal tunnel after the game between Alabama and Tennessee. There may be 30, 35 penalties. Good night. I've never seen Alabama look so undisciplined like I have the last 2 years.
Yeah, and like Mr. Jones says, the referees don't want them the same ones from last year. And the way we're playing right now, even without those, we don't need those turkeys.
No, sir. Not at all.
All right, well, let's get into the game, bud, if you want to.
Sure, love to.
What do you think about the first quarter, it being homecoming? A lot of people thought this was going to be just a walk in, walk out, but there were shots across the bow a lot, especially from Spencer. And I seen what he was talking about, and I realized it later. I picked at him at a show a little bit, but, he was right. And I got to thinking about it. Arkansas is not just going to come in here and lay down and be a cakewalk. Arkansas is what? Yeah, Arkansas is 2-4, but them losses, they weren't beaten. They just lost.
And that's a lot of times you got to look at how you lose, necessarily just like how you win versus why you won. There's different things. The score is not always the big indicator. And Arkansas has lost a lot of close games that could have went the other way. I mean, they could have easily come into that game with the same schedule, with the same record as us. They're a decent football team. And everybody's going to give us a good shot. I mean, let's be honest. Alabama's got to play like their hair's on fire right now, because we literally have we can't lose another ball game. Not if we've got a bigger picture in mind. But even if it's just the SEC championship, you don't want a loss in conference. There's a lot of good football teams out there. I mean, LSU went out and took their business last night, and we still got them coming up. So, yeah, I mean, Arkansas, I thought, played really well. I mean, there's some players we could highlight from their team, especially.
Oh, yeah. Welcome in here, B. Jammin and Coach Dude. Glad to see you guys this morning. Roll Tide to you. Yeah, and I thought that what struck me out the most was right before the game that I found out that Arkansas has been plagued with injuries. And we know how that can play out. But I thought they come in here and they done an excellent job for what they had to deal with and what to work with, and playing in front of an Alabama crowd on homecoming. That's a tough thing to do. All right. First quarter. Arkansas gets on the scoreboard first. What do you think about those first few possessions?
I always look at the first couple of drives as a feeling out process. I don't get too wound up or too excited either way, depending on what I see, because things are going to change. A lot of times you're going out there and you're just trying to see what they're going to do and how you're going to approach it. So I don't get too fired up. Them getting 3 points early, don't get me wrong, wasn't happy about it. But, our red zone defense has been really good this year. So, and their kicker's really good. We found that out too.
Yes.
Kid's got a leg on him.
Yeah. I think his name's Cam Little. I may be wrong about his first name, but I think it's Cam. I agree with you. I think a lot of football teams are coming in here looking, or wherever they're at on the road or whatever. They're trying to get that first early touchdown on Alabama and set them behind the clock. You know what I mean? To kind of intimidate Alabama. Hey, good morning, two-time. Glad to see you in here again. You too, Justin. Glad y'all made it. But with Alabama holding them down to just field goals in those first few possessions, I was really, really impressed with the defense. I thought they done a great job.
I ain't gonna lie to you though. I mean, looking at Alabama's game film coming in this game, if you're Arkansas, you consider that a win to get any points on that first drive. I mean, Alabama's been very stingy the last few weeks on defense, so getting any sort of points at all keeps you in the ball game whatsoever. Because our defense, we play through our defense right now.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I think after their first few field goals, we started getting sacks again. I mean, the defense was looking great, but all of a sudden the sack bug hit us again. But that followed up with old Milroe. Man, I tell you what, how impressed are you with his arm?
Man, that kid can just flick his wrist and throw it 60 yards. I mean, the arm strength is incredible.
I get that.
I'm a big fan of him. You know, he's still got a lot to learn. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's still young in my mind. He don't have a ton of experience. But you see him changing things just a little bit every week, you know. And he's still got he's got to get off that first read a little quicker. He does. It's been a liability for him. And if he's going to run, he needs to commit to the run instead of hesitating, because it caused him a few sacks that wouldn't have necessarily on the offensive line yesterday. Not that the offensive line played great for him, but a lot of times this year he has caused a lot of his own issues by taking sacks because he won't commit to one thing or the other. But yeah, his arm strength, man. Whew, God. He's got all the ability. He's just got to tie it together.
One of my biggest downfalls of Milroe, and I want him to work on it so bad, is his short passes. We seen that yesterday, and when he threw kind of to the sideline, I think it was Ja'Cory Brooks, it just fell again right between his legs, you know. And that, I think he fears that he throws so hard and strong that he's basically lofting it to him, you know, like you're throwing a pitch to a kid, you know, almost.
That's a good take. I hadn't considered that. I'm going to look for that. I like that opinion on it. I hadn't really thought about it in that way, but it makes sense.
It does to me too. I mean, I've seen it in the spring game and some other stuff, and that's what I was concerned about. And it showed up again yesterday. But like you said, I sat there and watched him throw a long pass, and it looked like his arm was still here, and just a flick of his wrist, and it was rocking it down there. You know, there's nothing.
It really does.
As long passes, it's amazing to watch him. But anyway, at least he threw it to one of my favorite guys. Let's see. Yes, sir, Mr. Prentice. I love Prentice for some reason. He's one of them in the background, but I think he's going to be, you know, every team has to have their wide receivers that are stars. I call them, like your first two that you want to go to. But there was a gentleman, and right now I can't think of his name, and I don't want to hurt my brain trying to think of it, but it seemed like every year or every Alabama team that was stout, they had that third guy or that fourth guy, however you want to call it, that would get you your yardage and play tough. And not only was a good blocker, but could catch the ball and get you those 5, 6, 10 yards, whatever you needed, you know. And Prentice kind of strikes me that way, but he also has that wide receiver ability to just take it to the house. And I enjoyed that very much. I'm glad he got into the game. All right. I am going to skip over this next part because we will talk about this here in a little bit. Moving into the second quarter, because that's pretty much was the first quarter. We ended up with 7-6 in the first. The second quarter, we started out kind of slowish again, but not really bad. We're not really looking too bad.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, we'd established a lead, even if it was a point, you know. It's still something to build off of. Kind of allows the defense to play a little looser when they know the offense can help them out. But yeah, at this point, I was still pretty pretty satisfied with what I was seeing all the way around the ball.
Okay. Well, we started out with a long pass to the man, Milroe to Burton.
All hands Burton.
Hans Burton. Yeah. I can't remember if he scored the touchdown off of that one. But it was some pretty passing. He was working that sideline pretty hard yesterday.
Yes,
I don't
it
care
was.
what anybody says. I like Burton. He's
I
got a
do
little
too.
attitude. He's got an attitude, you know, and that tells me he is into what he's wanting to do and play for this team. I know. I think it's the right kind of attitude, you know.
I'm glad you said that because, I've said that in other shows, defending him somewhat. He gets fired up, and, yeah, he has cost us with a penalty before. But sometimes a team feeds off that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Same as the head coach. Where the head coach goes, the team follows. If he's mad, they're mad. Things like that. If they're fired up. And I think he gets fired up, and he gets passionate, and sometimes it's a little much. But I'd rather have that than a guy that didn't care.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's like when Milroe makes a good pass, he gets up, and whether he's strong arming or he's beating his chest, I believe it carries over into the offensive line and the wide receivers that, okay, hey, his head is into the game. And I think that when Burton does it, he's giving 100%. He is out to get that ball. You're going to have to take it away from me. If not, I'm going to be in your face because you're going to have to do everything you can do to cover me. And that's what I like about Burton. I do.
Burton does so many things well, too. His run blocking doesn't get talked about enough for a receiver. He blocks really well sometimes. And his ability to get open, he's going to be open more times than not. And, he had a lot of drop issues last year, and it seems like he's worked on those. So, yeah, I'm really happy with how he's played this year.
I am too. He's come along very good, very nicely. We end up getting another sack. And I think after that, that's when Milroe threw a good pass to Ja'Cory Brooks, if I remember right. Got us down there to what? The 1 yard line?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. They followed that up. Or was it? Because it seems like to me, I remember part of the game that where Chase McClellan was pulling off a couple good runs. They might have been keeping the getting us downfield with these long passes, but it seemed like to me Chase McClellan was having an excellent first half. And if I remember right, he got us down to like the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, somewhere in there. And then they done what they call the tush push, whatever you want. That's the first time I ever heard called that, but I liked
it.
If
you watch the NFL, the Eagles are known for it right now. Jalen Hurts, he gets behind that gigantic line and they push, and you really can't do nothing about it. You can't stop it.
Yeah, just get the ball and fall on your center is what it looked like to me. Just don't touch the ground. Okay, let's see. I was reading facts. Just a win is win. Yeah, no doubt. I've been one of the first ones on here. Just give me a 1 point win.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Sloppy and win than have a loss any day of the week. You can always improve on things and look at film and know what you need to do better, but that win matters more than anything else.
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for, especially after the loss with Texas. I don't care what you do now. Just get us that 1 point win.
Yes,
I don't care if it's at home, revenge, Cigar Week, Death Valley, whatever. I don't care. Just get me that 1 point win. That's your chance this year. Oh, man. Well, what do you think about the running back of Jam Miller?
Hey, it was great to see Jam Miller come back in there and get some plays. I think he was averaging 10 yards a carry. It was like 4 runs for 40 yards, something like that. I think it's what his stat line was. But, oh, yeah, man, it was great to see him out there. You could tell he was fired up and ready to go. And I think he had a 19-yarder at one point, which really helped that average. But, yeah, as a whole, Jace got the bulk of the carries, and he did really well. He averaged 5.2 yards, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. But, yeah, the whole team, I mean, we had several guys get – Roy Dale Williams had a good average. He only got 7 carries, but he had 68 yards, I'd
be dog. I didn't know. I mean, I know he was in and out.
Well, he busted
but I
one
guess
long one for about 35. I think it was right in
mhm.
there, about 35 yards, which makes that average go up. But yeah, he was very successful on the ground as well.
So all in all, we're just in the I'm gonna say the first half running game looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I did, and I
More,
have to
more
say,
runs between the tackles.
mhm,
They want to work to the outside and spread it out, and I totally understand what they're trying to do. But I think our strength is between the tackles, using our size to our advantage. Where our guys are not necessarily very fast to get to the outside to help on blocks, but they can get that one-on-one push right now and run between the tackles. I think we need to keep doing that at least in the first half of games, try to establish some dominance.
mhm.
Little
Yeah,
bullet ball.
I thought if you're gonna run to the outside, it looks like to me, Roydell Williams and the likes of Justice Haynes is more like you said in between the tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Chase McClellan is better toward the edge. Uh, I liked him, because it seemed like he was running between the tackle and the guards. I liked that. But getting to that edge is going to be more like a Jam Miller type. Jam really, I thought he excelled at that myself.
Yeah, he's got really good acceleration. He's stop and go just really fast.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Oh, well, that ended up being a touchdown with that push, made it 14-6 in the second quarter. The next one went to a long pass to Nye Black, with all this other running. And that's also, I think, I can't remember if Justice Haynes had come into the picture before then or not, but that was an easy just walk-in touchdown.
Yes, it was. And Nye Black makes it look easy. He runs routes like a receiver. But he's impressive. We gotta get him the ball more. I'd like to see them get him 5, 6, 7 looks at least. Not everything's guaranteed a catch, but at least get him fired up. I'd like to see what he could do.
Well, I agree with you there. I think we got so many weapons at wide receiver, they don't know who to use.
Oh, and I agree because we've got guys we barely get the ball to. They're as good as anybody in the country, but there's only so many guys that can get the ball, and a lot of it goes with your game plan. So it's totally understandable.
Yeah, and I understand it too. I mean, right now you are showcasing Jermaine Burton and Corey Brooks. But like I said earlier, I like seeing Prentice. There is one I would like to see more of, and I don't know if he's ready for it yet. But only they know that's Kendrick Law. I'd like to see more out of him.
I would too.
And with the talented tight end room over there, I mean, you got several weapons to select from, and it's only one ball, So who ends up getting it? Well, let's see here. Yep. What do you think about Justice Haynes?
Well, we didn't get to see a lot of him. I did get him. I seen him get beaten a couple pass protection plays, and I think that's why he don't get as many looks as he probably normally would, because he's not as great a blocker as some of the other guys ahead of him, and you don't want to put the freshman out there and break his confidence early by trying to get him to do something he's not good at. It's not that he won't be good at it in time, but right now it's something he needs to work on. So, but what I did see out of him, I liked. As always, the sky's the limit with Hayes. He's such a good running back. And, he peeled off a 10-yarder, and I think he had maybe a 1-yard run after that. But he does need to work on his blocking a little bit.
Yeah, and these 1-yard runs that everybody looks at and averages, it's when you get those 1-yard runs.
Yes.
Is what I look at. You're always moving the ball forward that way. But sometimes, just like Chase yesterday, you might not be impressed as Jam Miller's, But those 10, those 5, those 1-yard runs that Chase done, that's what kept the ball moving, kept us moving in the offense, and setting up other plays. You know what I'm saying? So those are the ones that I get impressed by.
And Jace is really good, too, about giving you a shorter second and third down situation, because he's about an automatic 5 most of the time. I mean, his footwork's severely underrated. He's got great footwork.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Can I highlight something real quick? I see where Coach D said something about. He said, "I wonder how the zone read would work with Jalen and any running back. Great. Wish we would run it 100%. really would love to see more RPO stuff, more zone reads. Try to take advantage of Jalen's athleticism and the fact that he could freeze the safety or make the linebacker pick the wrong decision, and then the running back could tear it up the gut. So, yeah, I'm totally with you, Coach, dude. I think that'd be a great idea. I'd love to see it.
There we go. All right. Yeah, I agree with you and Coach Dude. Coach Dude's got a lot of good stuff, man. He does.
Man, Coach Dude's got some great insight. You can tell
Yes, he
he's been
does.
around the game a lot.
Oh yeah, and you can tell he knows. He's I think he coaches. I don't know if it's what kind of school or if it's a recreation thing, but you can tell he knows his stuff.
Well, those kids are lucky to have him then, because his attention to detail, they got a lot coming.
Oh, I put in there somewhere in one of the shows or something. Coach Dude looks a lot like one of my nephews. I mean, it's kind of like the same personality, the same eyes, the same smile. So I enjoy watching him. He looks great. Oh, man, I hate to say this. O-line give up 2 more sacks. Second quarter.
They did. And they, again, I don't know that I've seen Alabama give up this many sacks in the season. If I have, it's been a long time. Putting a left tackle, a freshman at left tackle is dangerous. I'm not second guessing the coaching staff. They do this for a living. I don't. They know something. But most of the time, you used to see Saban, if he started a freshman, you would move him to guard and let them work and develop, and then they would move them out to tackle as they were more experienced. And, he's getting beat a lot. His feet, sometimes he don't set his feet right. He gets over his hips a little too much. And when you've got a guy, and remind me, you probably remember the defensive end for Arkansas, the guy that was pressuring to the outside. He was eating us up all night. I cannot remember the man's name.
Landon Jackson.
Jackson, that's the one. Big guy. I think he was 6'7", 6'8", athletic as all get out. And, that's a tough task for any tackle to take on. But for a freshman, it's a good test for him. He got beat a lot. But by the end of this year, I still believe we'll see growth because of the test he's been put through. You never get better playing bad people. You get better playing people better than you.
Mm-hmm. Competition.
Definitely.
You're talking about Proctor.
Yes.
I watched him a little bit in the replay earlier and try to notice what's going on with him. It seems to me that he takes short steps. And when he's not beat, he takes wide steps. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if his brain and his feet are not working together. It seems like when he does short steps, he's trying to keep you from coming in inside. When he's taking those long steps, and when I say long steps, I mean his left foot goes back further than what it does in the short steps. And when I say further, it may be just 6 inches. It may be a foot more. But he gets a wide step back. That way he has a foothold on going backwards if he needs to more. But also he has what I call a kickstand to where he can push off if he needs to come back inside. Right. That's what it looks like to me with him. I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but that seems to be what his main problem is so far.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Like I said, he gets over his hips a little too much sometimes, and being a lineman's a game of leverage and, angles and leverage. And even if a guy's stronger or faster than you, if you take the right angles and you get lower than him and use your leverage, you can beat that man. And, it's just fundamental stuff that will come back to him. He's probably in his head a lot. I mean, he's on the big stage as a freshman. That's a tough pull, A lot of people couldn't do as good as he's done, all things considered. I know a lot of people's trashing him right now, but I've also seen things he's done really well, and he's ahead of his development on. So I don't really like to throw guys under the bus. I try to look at the positives on a lot of things because football is a tough sport. I don't care what position it is. And if you can find things somebody is good at and highlight those and give them an opportunity to build from that, the other things will follow. Good coaching will get you a lot of places.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying I've just noticed these things.
And that's a great observation. Fantastic observation. You'll learn more about the game of football not watching the ball than you ever will watching the ball.
Oh, yeah.
I had a coach teach me that at a young age, and it stuck.
Made you what you are today.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'd had some athleticism, I might have been reviewed on one of these shows myself.
All right, that brings us up to halftime. We're winning by 21-6. What did you get a feeling off of the environment itself? It being homecoming, we're up 21-6. They're picked to win by basically 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
How was you feeling that at that point in time?
Oh, I felt great about it. I was absolutely loving what our defense was doing. They were getting long field goals. It wasn't like we were letting them drive down our throats and getting into the red zone. I mean, they were kicking long field goals to get on the scoreboard. Defense was standing tall. They were keeping the quarterback scrambled. I mean, he didn't have time to relax. The linebackers were all over the field. The secondary was shutting everything down. The offense was going over the top, blowing off the coverage a little bit. Seen some reads that Milroe, I could tell he was noticing the safeties and was kind of reading from that. And that's something I hadn't really seen him do a lot of this year. So there again, there's some more growth we're seeing out of our quarterback. And the run game was doing absolutely great. So, yeah, at this point in the game, I was relaxed. I was enjoying it. And, wouldn't even doubt in my mind. I really thought we might double the score before the game was over, if I'm just being honest with you.
And I will tell a story when we get into later on into the game. That you'll probably get a kick out of it. I don't know. Oh, the O-line needs to get better. I think they did look better yesterday. I actually do.
I think they improved in some ways.
Yeah, and Roberts is back in there. Ain't he right guard now?
Yes.
I don't think he's the tackle.
Yeah, right guard.
Yeah, and I think he's that's where Dalcourt is at. I think he's doing a fine job over there.
You see what B. Jamin said about? Did you see what B. Jamin said about Proctor? I totally agree with him 100%. The coaches are going to have to help him in some way or another because he is sort of viewed as the weakness of our line as of right now. And whether it be, two tight end formations with somebody helping him, chipping off of his block, getting into the second level, he's going to need some help to disguise that a little while until he gets it completely right because they're going to pick on him. And it's going to be in his head too. Yeah,
Proctor's in a bad spot. He's in a bad spot. He's a freshman, and he's playing for Alabama. Like I said, I only seen one thing, and that was just something that caught my eye, and that might not necessarily be it. That's just something that I saw.
I thought it was a great observation. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, and if that's the problem, let him work on it. And he kind of wondered about keep sending him help over there. Is that going to get in his head too? Because he's a big man.
Yes,
he's an outstanding athlete. We all know that. But they're going to really barrel him down with the guns. You know what I'm saying, on that left side until he can prove that he is not one to go contend against. You know what I'm saying? So Proctor really is in a bad spot. And I wonder if that'd be like me saying, Van, okay, you're this way, you're that way, you're getting beat and this and that. You just stay your butt out there until you learn how to play that position. And, do you want to be hurtful to the team or get down on yourself, or are you just going to try a little bit harder and try to figure it out? What do you do?
And a lot of that's knowing how to coach different personalities because not all people are the same. Not all people think the same. People are motivated different. Guys like Terrion Arnold can take tough coaching well and they grow from it and embrace it. Some guys, you can break them mentally. You've got to approach them differently. So, yeah, that's definitely a good point right there. How would he approach having help? But it sort of is necessary right now.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, we'll jump into by the score updates. That tells me we need to move on just a little bit more. They're more interested in NFL.
Well, that is actually fascinating. I don't know how much of that you keep up with, but the Panthers being up 14-0 on the Dolphins, I wouldn't have put money on that at all right now.
Third quarter. We are going into the third quarter 21-6. I will tell you what, the third quarter to me was nothing really to write home about at all.
No, at Alabama, and I've seen somebody bring it up earlier in the chat, and I forget who it was, and I apologize for that. But Alabama has not played their best ball in the third quarter this year either. Third quarter is kind of I don't know. It's like it takes them a little while to adjust back after halftime. I don't know what it is exactly, but they definitely have a drop off in the third quarter.
Yeah, well, it's like we put in, and that's why I keep saying homecoming. Homecoming is somewhat like a spring game. You're supposed to win this game, and you start putting in people that you know have been working hard, people like Justice Haynes and Story on the defense and stuff. And I really like Story. I don't know why he's not out there playing more, but he got to play yesterday.
He gets caught a little flat-footed sometimes, and it takes him a minute to adjust. He'll get beat, but it's things he can learn from. I don't stress stuff like that too much.
Okay. Well, I think we kind of highlighted Miller a little bit more, but we had him pretty good. Defense was still very strong, but the third down penalty. Everybody knows which one I'm talking about. How did that go for you?
I wasn't real happy about it. I'm sure I wasn't as mad as Saban was, but I was not happy about it at all.
I didn't like it. I mean, when I seen that happen, I'm like, oh dear. And here's what it kicked in for me. We got the pick'em show, and I picked Arkansas because I just didn't think Alabama would win by 20 points. And my goodness, it was looking like they was headed that way, And I'm already shouting up, okay, that was a loss, And that was my feeling. I'm still watching the game and all, and I'm sitting there watching them. That third down penalty come up, and I'm like, it kind of was a stab here and a let off here. You know what I mean? Because now that gave Arkansas new life. And they took advantage of it, just like any good team should, And I think
the momentum from the game too.
Yep, it robbed from the momentum.
Struggled to get momentum back, and momentum's so underrated. People don't give it credit, but when you got things rolling and you feel like there's nothing we can't do, a football team will just beat you to death that way. But when things start happening and you can't figure out how to stop the leak in the boat, you get a little panicky. You start getting in your head a little too much, and we seen it yesterday.
Yeah, because I think later on they had them in another third down situation. Penalty.
Yep.
Moved it another 10 yards. I can't remember what it was, but them two penalties in that one possession that gave Arkansas another score, bringing it up to I think we had a field goal in there somewhere, but we did. We got it in the third quarter, but that brought it up too. And I have to give Arkansas credit. They made some good play calling in there with those penalties.
And they need to stick with him. They need to be patient with him.
You think so?
I think he's a good coach. I think he should lean more on KJ Jefferson, because if Jefferson was anywhere else in the SEC, he'd be talked about a lot more than he is right now. He's an incredible athlete. Got great size. He's got good speed. He's got a strong arm. And I've seen him. We seen him yesterday towards the end of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter make some really good throws. So I think he's a lot better, and they don't put enough on his plate. He can handle it.
Yeah, and I agree. He's been team captain for 3 years, I think they said.
Sure.
Down there. And it shows. It shows why he was there. Man, it was tough. I mean, we had a guy hanging all over him. He just knocked him off and ran for another, 6 or 7 yards, afterwards. The dude was amazing.
Swatted him off.
Yeah. But let's say that made it 24-10 or 24-13. And at that point in time, I'm like, yes. And my wife, she gives me this kind of look because she knows I'm diehard, Alabama fan. And I mean, it's almost like that puppy dog. What in the world are you cheering about? I said, baby, I picked him to win, but picked him to win by less than 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
The rate they're going, I said, they're going to get that 20 points. I'd at least like to win a point. You know what I mean? I'm in competition with some great pickers, and I'm on my way up. So, yeah, but that's all I want them to have. I don't want them to get no closer. Well, boy, was I wrong. Jeez. You always talk about KJ Jefferson. Landon Jackson was all over the field all day long. I mean, you cannot say enough about that young man. My goodness, he was everywhere. It seemed like, though, we did take out Tesla. He was all right in the first half, but it seemed like we kind of took him out in the second half. All this went over into the fourth quarter, and that's when their renewed confidence, and Arkansas started playing some ball. And I thought for somebody that's got a bunch of dadgum injuries, man, they didn't play like it. They were really showing their heart and playing their hearts out.
Yeah, they came back and started fighting like they have all year. Like I said, if you've been watching any of Arkansas's games, nobody's really manhandled them. They find a way to get back in a ball game.
No, which surprised me.
It's close to being a really good football team this year.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that all ended up with them scoring another touchdown with a final score of 24-21.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to ask you, was there any time in the game that you had any doubt that we were going to win the game?
Nah, I put my trust in Milroe. I've put my trust in the team, and win, lose, or draw, them are my guys. The coaches think enough of them to play them, and they found a way. They fought and scratched to keep the score, keep the lead, and win. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't what we want, but it's what we need. And, your needs are more important than your wants. And as long as we're putting wins in the win column, I'll take what I can get. We got a lot of things to improve on, but I think that's any team right now, So I'm happy with it, I'm not happy with everything I've seen, but I'm happy with one.
Okay. Hey, Ken, welcome. Ken says, I just can't seem to get that third pick. I was rooting for Alabama to cover. Bless him.
Coming from the Tennessee fan, that's a compliment. We'll take it. Sorry we let you down,
Ken. You'll learn. Listen to me, brother, when it comes to Alabama. Penalties. Yeah, we got them down. That was great. But the ones that we did, yeah, they were costly.
Yes.
I'm going to say this much. One of the goofiest penalties I have ever seen in a long time, and I brought it up last night. How do you get a dadgum false start in a victory formation?
I got a little fired up on that one. I'm not going to lie to you. I got a little beside myself on that one. I threw out some cuss words and got a little aggravated on that because come on now. We're just trying to get the knee, run that clock down, and get out of here with a W. And I don't understand. I don't know that I ever recall seeing that on a victory formation. I could be wrong.
In all my years, I have never seen a false start on a victory formation. Never. And that just beat all I have ever seen. And I said, well, that's indicative of the year so far.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there was some good hard hitting playing yesterday. There really was. And before we're going to move on, I want to know who your MVP is.
Well, I think Downs might be my MVP in this game. I just love the way he plays the game. I think he can play any spot in the secondary. He played the star yesterday. He looked great there. Mm-hmm. I think he's very Minka Fitzpatrick-like, where you can put him anywhere in the secondary and he will play elite. Terrion Arnold still playing great. We still don't get Kool-Aid tested a lot, so we don't talk about him a lot. But, we know what he's capable of. But there's actually a guy I would like to highlight that don't get enough love, and he's mostly doing work on special teams right now. But his name's Quindarius Robinson.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
man, I love what he's doing. He's playing so hard, you're going to have a hard time keeping him off the field before very long.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy I'd really like to highlight that, not a lot of people talk about, but he's putting in the work, and I'm really proud of what I'm seeing out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yep, me too. Well, for me, actually, I've kind of got two. I was really impressed with Latham in the middle on the defense. I think he was doing some good pass rushing yesterday. I kind of put him more in the most improved column.
Yeah,
Great. But my most valuable player I thought was Chase McClellan. I do.
Oh, yeah.
His running kept us in. He was working horsing, and he was keeping us in contention, moving the ball. It seemed like all day long until we got, I guess you want to call it complacent. I don't know. I don't know if we was actually being complacent or just throwing in new players, and it kind of disrupted the rhythm and the momentum.
That's a great point. And that's something I kind of went over in my own mind a lot too after the game yesterday. Did we get relaxed and lazy a little bit after getting such an early, deficit that we'd put on the board between us? Did we get complacent and kind of happy and calm down a little bit, or was it the key penalties and swinging momentum that caused it, and Arkansas took advantage of that? It could be a combination of everything, but yeah, I'd love to see Alabama play a little bit more complete ball game from start to finish. We still haven't seen them play 4 quarters of really good, solid, mistake-free football, and it could very well come. It could be this coming week. And I think if we do that, I think we can beat anybody in the country. I'm still confident in Alabama's ability. It's just getting it all done, getting the little things ironed out,
Okay. Before I respond to that, remind me of it so I can put a cap on this.
Yes.
Yesterday marked Nick Saban's 200 wins.
Congratulations to the GOAT.
Yep. And it also put Will Reichard, #1 scoring leader in the SEC, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, #7 in the nation. I could be wrong about that, so fellas, don't be pissed at me if it's different. But yeah, congratulations to both them guys.
Both well deserved. Both bring it every time. I mean, Saban's the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. I know I wasn't alive for the Bear Bryant years, but I've read a lot about it and studied up on it, and he did an amazing job. But what Nick's doing in today's football may be even more impressive.
Yeah.
Let's not take anything away from Bear Bryant, because he brought Alabama back out of the recession that we had started to be in with J.B. Ears Whitworth coaching us. And he brought us back to prominence and kept us there for a long time. But Saban done the same, and done it at a time when it's harder to recruit. There's more restrictions on how you recruit. And things are changing again, so we'll see. But, he's done an amazing job. And, yeah, Reichard, we'll see him on Sundays. He'll be playing on Sundays.
Michelle, glad you made it, hon. Glad to see you.
Morning.
What was that last part I told you to remind me about?
You said just to put a cap on whether the team just kind of got lazy and unmotivated, or whether, the penalties and the swinging momentum and Arkansas taking advantage of it was the cause, the combination of. But
I really felt like homecoming really messed this game up. I'll be honest with you. I felt like the players was looking forward to they know this Arkansas team. And I think Saban tried to warn them, about this Arkansas team. But they already had parties in their mind. They was going to come out here and show out in front of their girlfriends and whatever else and play some football and then go party last night, I really do believe that was in their head a little bit. It's homecoming. This week, I believe the attitude is going to change. It is Tennessee. They want this game, and I really do believe they want to show Tennessee up. I really do. Will they be able to? It's going to be up to Tennessee.
Tennessee's still a good football team. Don't let nobody fool you.
Yeah, they are. And like you said earlier, they're leaning on that running game, which is important. If you don't have the best of quarterbacks, that running game has got to come into play. I'm not impressed with Joe Milton myself. I ain't saying he's a bad quarterback because he did make plays when he had to. So
Sure, he did. And that's another thing. I mean, it's almost comparable in our situation, I believe. Milton's abilities there. You know, I've seen a lot of his high school tape and other things. He's a good quarterback. He's making some questionable decisions this year, but I think before they really got the run game involved, he probably felt like he had to put more of it on his shoulders, and sometimes that causes you to make bad decisions. If he'll relax and, you know, take what the defense gives you, he'll be fine. But that being said, yeah, you can't take Tennessee lightly. They're a good football team.
and that's what I'm saying. I really do believe that they are going to buckle down and focus this week. This is not going to be looked at like they did Arkansas. That partly, I heard Saban do his little after conference thing, and he said, I tried to stress this and tried to stress that, and it seemed like it hit, and it did. It seemed like it hit in the first quarter and carried over a little into the second, But after that, I think they lost it. That's like playing golf. You get a tip, you use it, it works great, and then all of a sudden you think you know what you're doing, and now you suck. It goes right back to it again, and I think that's kind of what happened yesterday.
You can never rest. You can never rest in a football game. I mean, we've seen it being fans of college football over the years. Teams getting big leads and then turn around. Well, we've seen it with Colorado and Stanford Friday night.
Yeah.
Colorado had 29-point lead at the half, 26-point lead, something like that, and lost. You can never rest. You've got to focus on the task at hand. Keep doing your job until the final whistle is blown.
Well, like what
Coach Saban stresses, bring a hard hat, go to work, do your job until it's done. And sometimes these guys get a little comfortable, I feel like.
Well, like what Saban said the best, he says, we need to learn how to beat teams.
Yes.
Not just win. We need to learn how to beat them.
Definitely.
And they didn't learn it yesterday.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, guys, I guess we'll move on because I want to hear his comments on other games that we had yesterday. Let me see if I can bring them up right quick, brother. Let me ask you a question before I do. Alabama's been winning games 24, 26s. Not hardly much going over 30 at all. What do you think about that? What's going on there?
I really don't know. I wish I did. We're not seeing us. I think we're going to have to stop necessarily coming out and running on every single first down. We're kind of getting predictable. It works more times than not, but we're getting predictable. And I don't feel like he's still comfortable enough to completely let the offense put in work and try some different things. He's wanting them to get better at what they need to get better at, and I respect that. You better to have a small playbook and be really proficient at it before you start putting other things in that you're not necessarily as good at. And practice may dictate a lot of that. But yeah, I do find it strange. I really do. It's almost like we let off the pedal, and I don't want to say that like, well, Alabama's just not trying that hard. I don't want to be that guy, but it does seem like the play calling changes just a touch towards the end of games.
Now that you said that, Tommy Reese, what'd you think about his play calling yesterday?
Improved, but still not elite, still not what I want from him. I think he's improving just like the team is. He's growing just like the team. He's a young guy. He's younger than I am, and he's still got a lot to learn. He's still got a lot to learn about this team. But I think every week we see a few more things that we're like, hey, I like that. Or at least they tried this. There was a couple passes over the top that I questioned some of the route running on some of them. And that may not even been on him. It may have been the receivers. But, I'm happy sometimes just to see them try something. It don't have to always work. I just like to see them try something. But it's not consistent. It's very inconsistent right now still.
I thought he done an excellent job somewhat in the second quarter. Of course, we were scoring.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if because they did try to showcase some younger players, if I know what Van can do, I know how to strengthen him up and call him, make him have good plays. If I don't know so much about the next guy, I'm kind of wondering, can he do the same thing that I'm looking for out of Van? And he doesn't have the experience. So I'm kind of wondering about it all together.
Yeah.
But all in all, I was actually kind of rather happy about what play calls was about in the first half. Second half, what was going on with Milroe and his overthrows? He'd been pretty good all day.
I feel like sometimes when he starts getting sacked and getting consistent pressure every single down, that the game clock in his head, he hurries it a lot. That's how I feel. And maybe he puts a little too much mustard on the football trying to get it going. And I could be completely wrong on that. That's just how I feel, because he looked comfortable and relaxed at first. And once they started getting consistent pressure on him, you started seeing, especially in the third quarter, he was missing on throws he shouldn't. And it was throws we've been seeing him start to hit better the weeks previous, but his pocket wasn't necessarily clean, and I think he gets a little panicky at times.
Yeah, well, I kind of wondered about that myself. It looked like he was trying too hard.
Very possible.
Because these were not short passes. These were passes that he normally makes.
Yes, yes, I agree. But,
so I wonder.
Any pressure sack's going to affect the quarterback a little bit. I don't care who they are. And I think that does play into it,
I was just kind of curious because I hadn't really seen a lot of overthrown passes from him, and it seemed like there was more yesterday, and like something had changed all of a sudden. I didn't know what was going on with him, but regardless, I'm sure it's something he can work out. But that kind of struck me as curious.
To me, Milroe has no ceiling. That's how I feel about him.
Exactly.
I don't think we've seen his ceiling anything even close to it. I got a lot of faith in him. I remember watching some of his high school tape, and I know it's high school tape, but you can still see tendencies and stuff like that from guys. And man, he could sling the rock and do it at an efficient level and take care of the football. And he's getting back to that. He's not throwing a lot of picks. He's taking care of the football. He's just got to get off that first read, a little bit quicker decision making, and maybe don't hesitate so much whether he wants to run or pass, just commit to it and go with it. But other than that, yeah, man, I think we're in a good spot with him. He's growing.
Stephen Hicks, I'm going to have to disagree. We just don't, at least one thing of your comment. I don't think Proctor is that. I think he's a freshman under a lot of pressure. He's got some footwork. I mean, that's just my opinion from what I saw, and I could be wrong, but I'm thinking he's got some footwork he needs to work on. Other than that, he's doing a pretty good job,
Oh, yeah. I don't want to argue with Stephen Hicks at all, because I think he's a knowledgeable football fan, and I enjoy talking to him. So I don't want this to come across as an argument, because I'm not coming at him like that. But, yeah, he's young. He's young.
Exactly.
I think he's playing in his head a lot, and I think he's, sometimes he's forgetting some of the fundamental things. The more you practice it, the more it becomes just second nature to you. And I think he's getting in his own head a little bit, but there's time.
Well, and not only that, if there was anybody better, they'd be there.
Yes.
And we got a freshman there. 100%. I asked the question last night, where's the sophomore? Where's the junior or the senior that was over there? I know there's recruiting classes ahead of him. Apparently he can beat them all out. I don't understand that, but so kind of cut him a little bit of slack. I don't think he's, it being Sunday, I'm not going to repeat some of the language, but
definitely.
And you're right. Stephen Hicks knows his football.
We're very fortunate. Everybody, Alabama fans, Georgia fans, Tennessee fans, when they show up in their chat, they bring up good discussions. They talk good football. We're very fortunate for that. You could do a whole show just off of the talking with the chat room a lot of times, because they give such great opinions and aspects of it.
Don't know why they're not giving him some help, Steve. I really don't. I really don't know why. Maybe they're just going to keep him out there until he learns. He may be our best option for the next 3 years. I don't know. Unless they get something in recruiting. So what do you think about Kevin Steele? What kind of grade would you give Kevin Steele right now?
I'm gonna give
up
him
to this point.
a B plus, possibly an A minus. I mean, yeah, we give up some things, penalties and whatnot, kind of aided their offense a little bit when we would get some dumb penalties. But overall, our defense is attacking. They're flying to the ball. They're trying to take advantage of things and giving different looks. They're confusing quarterbacks right now. And yeah, we're in a lot better shape defensively than we were a year ago at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And people need to remember that.
Yeah, I have to give him an A, to be honest with you. I think back a lot of times to when we've talked football before. If we're not hearing your name called a little bit or a lot, that means they're staying away from you because they're scared of you.
100%.
And there has not been a lot of talk about Kevin Steele. Oh, you hear his name every now and then, but you don't hear, well, he needs to work this or that. His defense is doing great. And we're proud of what job he's done. And that's the reason Saban got him. He knew what he would do.
But I feel the same way about the offensive coordinator. That, there's things he needs to do and take advantage of, especially with Milroe or helping the left tackle with blocking, using Milroe's athleticism, working some RPOs and different things like that. But overall, we got to remember this guy is young and he's learning just like the players are. Kevin Steele's been in the game a long time. He's been established at the highest level for a long time. The man knows what he's doing. You can't question his methods, just like Nick Saban. But Reese, give him time. Let him grow.
Yeah, I agree with you, Michelle. Yeah, we're all used to that. We're spoiled, blowing people away. That's what Saban was talking about this morning. We need to learn how to beat teams and not just win,
Yeah. And that's not always beating somebody by 40 points. It's by doing your job solidly and not making dumb mistakes. That's not always that you beat a team by 70. It's how you win.
That's a good point. You may win by 1 or 7 points, but like yesterday, I asked you, was there ever a point in the game that you doubted that we was going to win the game? Not really.
Yeah.
No. But it was one of those that if it did, you would be extremely ticked off about because you should have won that game,
Yes.
But I feel like they didn't beat Arkansas. They just won the game, I like Saban's comments on that. And he's right. If we can win by 14 points, I know I'd take a 1-point win any day. I really would. But I would it's time they've been, this is the 7th game. They've had some time to learn, to grow some. It's time for them to start dominating a little bit more. I felt the defense dominated quite a bit yesterday. They might get a little slack in the third quarter.
Yeah,
kind of to the beginning of the fourth.
But
they tightened up enough.
No slouch either. I mean, they've got good athletes. I mean,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, if you back off a little bit, they're going to take advantage of that. And
hey, KJ ain't nothing to play with. And I'll be honest with you, Atlanta Jackson, that was the defense. We all know it's a team deal, but he really stood out yesterday. He really did. At Tesla, I think we ended up shutting him down. He basically got out of the way. But if there was more athletes on that Arkansas side, we would not have been good. Not have been good. But anyways, I want to know what you thought about Kevin Steele. Tommy Reese, I agree. I think he's learning. I wonder sometimes why did Saban get in a plane and go up there to get him like he did. He sees something in him that we're not seeing. Definitely. And I'm kind of waiting to see what it is because I'm sure we could have got maybe a better coordinator. Maybe. But Saban sees something in him, and he's not been wrong too often. So
no,
I kind of like Tommy Reese. I'm hoping he does well, and I hope he learns some more. And maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. What you're going to get reminds it of. Yeah.
I like that.
I do.
Ken just made. Yeah, parity is good in football. As a fan of football, you want to see hard fought. If you're beating everybody 70-0, you get bored. I don't care who you are.
Well, yeah. I'm going to stay off of it. Because I know where I'm going to end up. And 2 times on here, he's my buddy. I like 2 times.
Oh, I'm not going to badmouth Georgia. Georgia's still winning.
Yeah, I know, but I keep falling back on the quality of competition.
That's a fair point. It's the same point you can make with Michigan. They're getting the job done, but they're beating nobodies. But everybody gets tested eventually, and we shall see. Georgia's got great coaching. They've got great players, and I think they'll be right there at the end like we've been seeing.
Yeah, I kind of go back to the movie Rocky III, where he gets to be champion and he's just taking on a lesser class, I'm gonna call it, just to keep the crown. You know what I'm saying, or keep the belt. And then when he come against true competition in Mr. T, which was always great, he takes a beating. You know what I'm saying? But that's a movie. But that's kind of what I'm talking about.
I still love the analogy though, because I love that movie so much. What do you predict today, Clubber Lane? Pain. I love that movie.
But do you see where I'm going with that? With Georgia, I would like to see them play different competition. I ain't trying to wish them to lose. I want out of a champion, I'm just going to say out of an SEC champion, I really would have liked to see more competition out of them this year for them.
What they did show something yesterday when Brock Bowers got hurt, and they've leaned on Brock. And I've been one of the people that said at this point right now, he would be in my short list of Heisman people because he can carry a team on offense. We've seen him do it as their young quarterbacks go, and they've leaned on Brock a lot. And when he got hurt, they still found a way to get it done with the run game, and the quarterback played pretty solid. And Georgia found a way. So, they survived.
Come on, they found a way. Who did they play against?
I understand that. I do. But what did we look like against South Florida?
Well, I think that was a statement game. That was a statement game for Saban said, fans, y'all shut up. I know what the crap I'm doing. Milroe's the man. That's what South Florida was. And I think they did give the other quarterbacks a chance.
And I do see that. I don't disagree with you. I think he tried to prove that my way or the highway kind of thing. I'm right. I know what I'm doing here. Don't question my methods.
Yeah. So, and we're talking who would win between South Florida and Vanderbilt? Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. I think they show up for a few games this year. Not necessarily win them, but they try. I don't know.
No, Vanderbilt's always that way. They will give you their best. They will.
Yes.
It's just I remember years ago where I would be in my bedroom with a OAM FM radio trying to find Eli. I don't know if it was Eli Gold back then or not, but I'm trying to listen to the game, and it's Vanderbilt because you didn't have the media like we had today. So halftime, I'm back there listening to the plays. 1st and 10, Vanderbilt. Oh, I'm getting nervous. We'd always pull it out in the fourth quarter, but those kind of games worry you to death when you can't see what's actually going on.
Definitely.
Oh Lordy! But no, I just wanted you to take on the coaches and stuff. We'll move on to the scores and see what you think about these other games real quick. And
sounds good.
And what do you think we really need to do to prep up for Tennessee?
Well, that offensive line better step up because Tennessee's got a good defensive line. They showed it yesterday. They've been showing it. They will pressure you. They will shut down your running ability and make you one-dimensional really fast. And Tennessee ain't no slouch. I understand they're not as high-powered looking as they were last year at this time. They're not getting as much love from the media. And that loss to Florida really hurt them. But at the same time, Florida's got 2 losses, but they lost to 2 pretty good football teams. So Florida's no slouch either. So Tennessee, if you don't play a good game, they'll beat you. They'll beat you every day of the week if you don't play a solid football game. They got a good coach. They finally got their program turned around. They've got key playmakers and spots that can take advantage of situations and mismatches. And Alabama better bring their A game for sure.
I think they will. All right. Our score yesterday was 24-21. Georgia beat Vanderbilt 37-20. I really don't want to talk about Georgia. Play clean,
Is it
smart,
easy
focus.
because they were we were? What
Do
is
what
it?
now?
About, what is it about Georgia exactly that irks you? I'm just curious. Is it because they're not we used to
No,
be?
no.
Get back to
No.
or
No, Georgia is Georgia. I have nothing against Georgia at all. If you really want to know, I'm really proud of Kirby Smart. To be honest with you, he coached with us for years and years and stayed with us, and he went back to a college. He took a good job, with Georgia. I really don't have nothing against Georgia, to be honest with you. Anytime we have good quality competition between Alabama and Georgia, it makes for good games. If you looked at last year's championship, the Ohio State game was your national championship. It wasn't TCU. I didn't even watch the TCU Georgia game. There was no competition there. So it's nothing against Georgia, period. But out of the, I'm gonna call it this way, and I just said it earlier, out of the SEC champion, you need to be playing stiffer competition because you are just that. You've got the crown. Let's don't be messing around with these people with glass jaws, as we said, in that movie, to keep the crown. I don't like that. I want you to prove that you are who you are, be the gladiator that you're supposed to be, and that's why I got a problem with Georgia, and that's their scheduling. That's all. It's nothing else against them or their fans. Their fans are going to be fans. So
it's lonely at the top.
And it is.
Ask Alabama. They knew for a long time. You go from being the king slayers to the king, and everybody's got a bounty on your head. So
we still do.
Alabama was so dominant for so long. We still get everybody's best game, and now Georgia's saying the same thing.
And we get most of the attention. Georgia's not getting the attention that they think that they deserve. Well, if you want that kind of attention, you need to be playing stiffer competition. I know they're in the East, and we all know what we think about the East, but you had your Tennessees, your Georgias, and I don't know who else in the East can really give competition. I mean, South Carolina's just not going to do it for you. They get a stout team every now and then, but your West has been the stronger division throughout the years with LSU, the Auburns, even the stiffer competition with Arkansas, to be honest with you. Alabama, Missouri's not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So they will, some to an extent, but not what you think. That's what I want to see out of Georgia and that changes next year. I just hate to see that they get a pass to win one more crown because we've changed the divisions. I don't like that. I would like to see them earn it. And that's why I'm pulling that we get better and give Georgia that competition before going into the playoffs. It's not that I want to see annihilation of Georgia. It's not that way. There's some teams I wish would just go away, like USC. I can't stand USC. But Georgia, no, it's not that love-hate relationship for me. I just want to see more out of the champion. That's all.
Oh, that's a great argument. I was just curious where your head was at. I didn't know exactly how you felt about them. Everybody's got teams they hate. I hate Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
I hate Auburn, of course.
Okay.
I always will. Hate Tennessee. I hate what they're doing.
I can't stand Tennessee.
I mean,
no.
Philip Fulmer
never will.
Ruined them for me.
I love their fans. I love their the truth about it. I've got nothing against their football team. I've got nothing against their basketball. I was born and raised borderline Alabama, Tennessee all my life. And I've worked a lot in Tennessee. Good people. Great. I say good. They're great people, But when Phil Fulmer done what he done, and I ain't talking about just Alabama, the way he done Johnny Majors, took the man's job while he was in the hospital.
100%. That's why I didn't like him either. Because Johnny Majors was a legend, an absolutely great coach, and to be taken out the way he got taken out, and then to see moves he pulled when he was the athletic director as well. Just I don't know. He's sleepy, man, and it made me hate Tennessee.
He's a snake in the grass.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm not talking about The team.
No,
I'm not
him
talking about the team.
personally.
Him personally, and the administration let him do. They even put him in as AD. That tells me that either he had something on the administration, or the administration just let him do it. I can't stand Tennessee for that reason. He turned us in when they were doing the same thing. Okay, he just got mad because he couldn't do it better than we were. You know,
It's very possible.
I'm sorry, that's the way it is. You know, but nowadays, I mean, even Tennessee's had things found out on them. They're doing the same thing. You know,
No,
uh,
everybody
but
was doing it. Some teams were better at not getting caught, and
exactly.
that's why
You know, we see it
NIL
with
not
Auburn.
that big a deal with me, because guys have been getting paid for as long as college football has been around. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I understand, Ken. I just didn't like the way Phil Fulmer done that. You know, if you're going to do that, do it to the man's face when he's in better shape, not while he's in the hospital. You know, it was just cold blooded. You know, no respect for me with Phil Fulmer at all. And like I said, it's not against the team, but I can't stand Tennessee on account of that reason. And the administration allowed it and put up with it. I can't stand it. I just can't. And I'm sorry if that, you know, I ain't sorry, because that's just my morals, my convictions. You know, screw Tennessee. But now I ain't saying about the Tennessee fans, and I ain't saying nothing about. And I've had fans come up to my face. You sure are crazy wearing an Alabama jacket up here. No, I ain't. That's my team.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. You know.
Yeah, if I see a guy out with a Tennessee jersey at Walmart, I'm not going to give him crap about it. I mean, everybody roots for somebody. That's cool.
Yeah, you know, and we need those Tennessees. We need those Georgias. Like Junior asked me, said, "Why am I pulling for Nebraska so diehard?" Well, one, I had a boss that was a Nebraska fan. Two, we need those kind of teams.
Yeah.
It's different competition, you know, yada yada. But anyways, so he was in the hospital detoxing. Okay, so Bear Bryant was a drinker too. You seen what happened to him, huh? That's all I'm gonna say. Hey Neil, how are you doing, man? I ain't seen you in there in a long time, brother. I'm glad to see you come in. All right, we're gonna go through these scores for you guys and see what y'all think. Ohio State, not much to talk about there, is there?
I still don't have a lot of confidence in their quarterback. They're gonna have an uphill battle. They got some good teams coming.
Yeah, oh yeah. We've already said something about Michigan. All right, that Oregon-Washington game. What'd you think about that?
What a ball game. It lived up to the hype. You know, most of the time those kind of games don't. This one did. And, you know, Lanning's going to wake up a couple of times this week and question some of his decision-making. But overall, I still think Oregon's the better football team. I'm not taking nothing off Washington. I could very easily see Michael Penix Jr. win a Heisman. I got no problem with it. Washington's playing good football. I think Oregon's the better team.
I did too. But I'm like you, it's at Washington's house, you know. And people don't realize this stuff does add up, make a difference in how you play and what you do. 100%. Yeah, with you, Ken. Yes, sir. I don't have a problem with the true fans. It's the bandwagons. No. Hey, man, I used to work and deliver stuff to a guy that played for Tennessee football. He got the ring, you know. And he's one of the greatest guys you'd ever want to. Let's put it. I want him on my side if it comes to a barroom fight. Let's put it that way. But he's really a great guy. Really is.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Ken. Can't stand a bandwagon fan. You know, seen a lot of Auburn fans, you know, keep two hats with them, you know, the last few seasons because they were part-time Georgia fans too. And I can stand that, man.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Oregon. I think they were the better team, and I'm just not a Bo Nix fan. I mean,
it's hard to be because he played for Auburn. I mean, you can't watch it out of your mouth, you know.
Well, I can't remember. Let's see. I believe this is 2023, and he first come into college back in 1999, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember watching him when I was in diapers, but it feels like it anyway. But yeah, man, and a lot of people look at him like this. They're saying he couldn't take Auburn and make a better team out of them, so he ran to an easier spot. And that's debatable. I don't know. But Oregon's playing pretty good on both sides of the ball. I don't think we've seen the last of them yet.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt my feelings that Washington won either.
No.
Yeah, it really don't. All right, what about the Texas A&M game?
Well, Tennessee actually won the battle in the trenches, and a lot of people didn't think they would, especially against Texas A&M's defensive line, and ran the ball efficiently against Texas A&M and proved they could win a hard-nosed battle, without having to air the ball out so much. Because that's been the knock on Tennessee's coach from a lot of fans. They say, well, if we can't throw the ball for 300, 400 yards, we can't win. And I think he proved you wrong yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they did. And you got to admit that Texas A&M front seven is not nothing to play with, and Tennessee was running on them. We couldn't.
Something we couldn't do, 100%.
All right, what do you think about the Notre Dame game?
Well, yeah, kind of sour grapes for me because I don't like USC and I really don't like Notre Dame. But it just proves what me and a lot of these people in this chat right here have talked about. USC's time was coming. You can't not play defense and expect to go undefeated. Grinch, their defensive coordinator, I often wonder how he still has a job at the level he's at. He's never been good to me. And I sort of view their head coach, USC's head coach, kind of like I view Lane Kiffin. He puts too much focus on one side of the ball and not the other, and it will catch up to you in time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, for me, I can't stand USC. I just can't.
No.
I don't know. It's just one of them teams that I hope they get beat every game. And I'll go grinning about it. Notre Dame, well, Notre Dame to me is more of a traditional school. It helps when they are having a good team, as far as overall college picture, So I'm kind of glad they won. Everybody loves the gold helmets. If you don't like a gold helmet, I don't know who you are. You know what I mean? Plus, I got kinfolk that are true Notre Dame fans. So.
Growing up, my dad hated them because in the 70s, we couldn't beat them. And so he hated them. So I just, through osmosis, I hate them too,
Yeah.
They're like the Dallas Cowboys. They get talked about whether they're good or not sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
They get a lot of focus, and I think it rubs people the wrong way.
Well, what do you think about the slacking that LSU put on Auburn at LSU?
I expected it 100%. I don't know if anybody got to catch Nick Saban Jr.'s show Thursday night. It was a great show. They had two perspectives from fans from both teams. Mm-hmm. And I thought there were some great key points brought up, but I fully expected this. LSU's offense is really good. Jaden Danielson can play ball with anybody. And if much like Alabama's got to get their offense to grow as we go through, and they got to get their defense ironed out. The talent's there for LSU. They just got to get it out of them. They got to figure out a way to get the right guys on the field. But LSU's a team that nobody should sleep on. Not at all. They've got a lot of talent.
I got to read this for a minute. By the way, hey, Tom Reed, glad to see you in here, buddy. Icebox, I have a feeling we're in a bar talking about Johnny Major's people would have a hard time figuring out who's an Alabama fan and who's a Tennessee. Oh, if you didn't watch the show last night, oh my Lord, have mercy! You would thought we had lost yesterday.
I caught a little bit of it.
Yeah, you caught a little bit of it. But it was a good show last night. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The guys was great. I
love to see Rise Up. I love to see Rise Up after a bad game more than I love to see him during a good game, because I love to see him fight back the emotions and try to give the logical answer. And he's good at it, but you can see the emotions in his face, and it's great for me because I think a lot of Rise Up, and he was struggling with some things on this one.
Yeah, if y'all didn't get to watch that show, y'all need to go back and watch. That was a good show. I'm sorry, I don't mean to promote my own shows, but that was a good one. It was fun. I wouldn't know. That score does worry me a little bit. I'm proud LSU's coming here this year. Whether they got a weak defense, I don't think we got to tighten up our offense to take advantage of that, if nothing else.
I feel like they're the best team left on our schedule.
So far, yeah, I do too. Well, that's not taking nothing away from Tennessee, to be honest with you.
No, not at all. But there's something about LSU's offense just scares me to death.
Really?
That quarterback can run and he can pass as good as he runs, and you got to pick your poison sometimes.
What machine are you talking about spinning there, Neil?
All these arcade machines behind me back here, I think.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
I'm paying that you need to dust with all them webs and spider webs back there behind you.
No, we're decorating for a Halloween party next
I
week.
know.
And my wife wouldn't let that go on.
Oh, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Pros and cons. Yep. It is going to be a fight. It's going to be a good game this weekend, Ken. It really is. I do think that if we get bare knuckle down and focus, we will come out with about 7 to 10 point win. That's just my opinion.
Well, Tennessee's in the same spot that we're in, same spot Georgia's in.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of experience and key players, and we're trying to replace the guy behind center. All three teams replaced him. And so they haven't looked like they did necessarily a year ago offensively. But it's coming.
Tom Reed said rush 4 every play, and you would shut down LSU. Okay. Let's send a note to Kevin Steele.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Still look for that. He may send 5 just to prove a point.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we've already talked about Notre Dame, Kentucky. Any other particular game you want to talk about?
Not really. I think we highlighted the really good games, although I would like to point out one that nobody talks about, and that's Air Force. And they went out and beat Wyoming, and a lot of people didn't think they would. And Air Force is undefeated right now, and by no stretch do I think they could compete with the best teams in the country. But their coach don't get a lot of views, don't get a lot of looks, but they are very efficient at what they do, and I think they should get some spotlight because beating Wyoming this year is not an easy task. They've played everybody really hard, and Air Force went out and got it done week to week. So I just wanted to highlight that because if you see Air Force on in the next few weeks, watch them. It's fairly interesting. They do some things really well.
All right. What do you think the game of the next week's going to be?
As far as prediction, score, or
game of the week?
Oh, I'll be honest. I don't look that far ahead a lot of times. I kind of keep everything.
This is a good one. I'm really looking forward to this one. Ohio State versus Penn State.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a great ball game.
Mm-hmm. Now you see what I'm talking about. Oklahoma don't play nobody.
We'll finally learn something. Ohio State's quarterback situation still, I got my doubts. They got the best receiver group possible in college football, but the guy getting them the ball is not quite there yet. And Penn State's very physical. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting ball game.
And I love James Franklin. Love him.
I do too.
That,
he come in
that
there
man
and
is
did
a
a hard
coach.
job. Penn State would have been a tough job to take over some of the things that they've went through over the years. And
yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the way he does things. He done the same thing with Vanderbilt. Nothing but pure respect for Coach Franklin. And I hope, to be honest with you, I hope Penn State wins. Just to be honest with you. Another game that I kind of like to keep my eye on next week is Florida State versus Duke. Duke's been playing some good ball. I hope the quarterback's okay. But I kind of like to see how they do against Florida State. I hope they show up and play football. I don't care if they win or lose. I just want them to show up and play some good football. I always respect stuff like that. So,
me too. I'd love to see a great game from both of them. You got North Carolina sneaking around, knocking off some pretty good teams and doing it in big fashion right now. So that's setting up something down the road. But yeah, Florida State, I watched them play Boston College and eke out a win, barely win. Then I seen them beat the far out of LSU, and then come in and kind of take over the game against Clemson. So you don't really know from week to week, but Florida State's a good football team right now.
Oh, yeah. I think I mentioned it at one time, this one point, beginning of the year, Florida State's one to look for because you heard the name. And I'm like, okay, Florida State's back. They're back to playing good football, I'll tell you what I like to see lose. Clemson versus Miami. I like to see Clemson lose that one. That's just my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a big
Sorry, but not
Clemson
sorry.
guy. If there's any Clemson fans out there, I'm sorry, but I'm not a big Clemson guy. I don't personally like Dabo. A lot of people do. I think he's going to slowly get left behind by more forward-thinking coaches in the future. But yeah, I definitely like to see that.
Okay. All right. Well, I reckon we'll get out of here unless you got something else you'd like to touch on.
No, sir. I've enjoyed this. This was fun. I love. I'm a college football guy. I'm a huge Alabama fan, but I pay attention to a lot of other teams too, and I enjoy getting to talk about all of them. So this was fun for me.
All right. Well, then let's. Tom Reed. Hey, Tom Reed, I called you out to have a discussion about Georgia and Georgia scheduling. It's not really nothing bad. It was just that I was wanting to talk to you about the scheduling, what really happened there, and what you felt about Georgia, how they're doing this year. But we may not get to do it. Maybe sometime later on when we can get together on a Saturday night or something. Tom, we'll get to do that. And it's just talk football. That's all it is. Tom, Van is not my guest. He is the host. I'm the guest, if anything. Just to be honest with you.
I like to think of it as co-host, myself. This is both of us, and I enjoyed, me and you have a lot of phone call conversations, but they don't get put on a show. And we have good, if me and you get on the phone, it's always going to be an hour and a half. And I'm not a guy that talks on the phone much, but I enjoy our conversation. So I hope it come through on this, and I hope everybody got to enjoy it. I'd love to do it again.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll try again. And we'll soon. Guys, if y'all don't care, how about leaving us a like and a comment? And normally I don't ask for those. You hardly see me say on my shows ask for likes, but apparently that helps the algorithms and YouTube and stuff like that. But it'll also do good for.
If you liked it, comment and let us know. I'd love to know about it. If you didn't like it, let me know why. We can take criticism.
Yeah. See, like there's a good compliment there. Michelle says need this every Sunday.
We appreciate that.
That's what we're asking. Just hit us a like button. Let us know. This is a thing that me and Van's been talking about doing. And Van changed his job, and we don't know how well he can fit in on the weekday shows. And we all love Van. We love his insight, his input. I asked him, would he do a show with me? And it doesn't have to be with me. It could be with anybody. I really don't care. I just want to see some Van. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's doing great. And I'm doing this for Van, be honest with you, and for us so we can get more of him. But anyways, Tom Reed, thank you very much for coming, buddy. Jeff Stapleton, B. Jammin, Ken, Michelle Cochran, Stephen Hicks, always our guy there. Neil, I think Weldon. I hope y'all say y'all's name right, guys. I'm from the South. You know what I'm saying? I think Two-Time was in here. I don't see him. B. Jammin already said. Jeff Stapleton, Justin Summerlin. I didn't get to mention your name. I'm trying to call everybody because we really do appreciate you guys coming over here and listening to us.
I get to talk to people, during the week and different shows, and I always enjoy my conversations with them. I learn a lot from them, and it's been great, 100%.
Nick Saban Jr., I seen you in there, man. We appreciate you showing up. I always enjoy our other compadres.
If you don't follow Nick Saban Jr., by the way, you need to. He's got a fantastic channel. He does breakdowns during the week for big games, and he'll have different fans' perspectives, and I enjoy it 100%. So if y'all don't watch it, you need to.
My favorite part about Junior is, and I've told him, and I guess he thinks I'm blowing smoke up him, but I love his midweek last train of thoughts, Mm-hmm. And then when he had to be last, I just love that he comes on at a time. I wish I'm not working or not driving when he does it, or be driving while he does it, so I can sit there and listen. I can't respond, but I let him know, hey, that I am listening to you, brother, and you're entertaining me, so just keep it going. And I love it. I do. Guys, Junior, anybody, the regulars, that's Horseman, Next week, we're going to, and you could have done it today. I wished I'd said something a little bit sooner, but we was into conversation, so I forgot about it. You're more than welcome to come on the show and sit down. And this is what we call Barbershop Talk. We're going to be in here, sitting down here, talking about whatever we want to. If the conversation shifts over to fishing, guess what? It changes over to fishing.
Yeah.
If it changes over to, hey, you need to put a dadgum spark plug in your lawnmower to keep it running, then that's where it's going to go. This is nothing but sitting around in the barbershop, somebody getting a haircut, and and a bunch of old geezers sitting around talking whatever they want to talk about. Yeah.
The irony of me being on a show called Barbershop Talk when I clearly haven't been to one in like 2 years.
That's why I brought it up.
The irony's not lost on me. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for showing up. I hope they show up every time we do this. Follow all the shows on the Bam Dam Sports Network. Follow Nick Saban Jr., Rags and Fitness, Kangaroo Black, all the guys. It's a collaboration. It's a team effort, and we enjoy everybody that gets in these comment section. So thank you.
Yeah, well, then Danny escaped us, Tom Reed. We know. But who have you played? Come on, brother. I love Tom Reed. I do, but I hate it when they try to throw that stuff up there because who have you played? Come on. I do. I love Tom Reed. All right. That's going to do it for us. What was you saying?
I was like, yeah, Tom Reed, he's a smart fan.
No doubt.
He can make some great conversations, man. I enjoy seeing what he has to say.
Oh, he comes up with some great stuff too, buddy. He really does. All right, we're going to get out of here. We hope y'all enjoyed this. It's something that we're trying. I didn't expect us to go this long, but that's what happens. Well, yeah, that's about how our phone conversations go too.
Pretty much.
We enjoy it, and we was hoping y'all will too. And I asked Van, I said, what are we going to do when football runs out? He said, it's Barbershop Talk. We'll talk about whatever we want to.
Yeah.
So there we go. And hopefully some other folks will kick in and want to come sit down and enjoy it with us. So that's what we're trying to do. You got anything else, co-host or host or whatever you want to call yourself now?
No, sir, other than thanking everybody in the chat and hoping they'll stick with us and come see us next Sunday. I got nothing left to say, sir.
All right. It was a good show. I actually thought I enjoyed it myself. I'm going to leave out with, I found this very interesting last night after the show, and it was kind of late, not too bad. But I asked if they wanted to go out the old-fashioned way because we had Rags on here, and I love going out with Rags. Can't help it, I just love it. And I said, okay, do you want to go out the old-fashioned way? And they all voted, let's go out the old-fashioned way. I watched the whole panel on the left-hand side disappeared on me, and I watched the number of people watching the show. How many stayed to watch the takeout, the outro? Not a single one left. Not a single one. That tells me something. So we're going to go out the old-fashioned way. Thank y'all. We appreciate it. We hope to see y'all next week. Thanks, Van, for entertaining us. It's been great.
Sir. Thank you, Icebox, for everything you do, sir.
Not a problem. I'm a mad scientist. I do crazy crap. It's from what I was told. Y'all come back and see us next week. We'll try it again. But please hit the like button. Let Van know how much you liked him on here and enjoying the show. And he's giving up his time too. So tell him, leave a like button on him. See you guys. Y'all take care of yourselves. Have a good Sunday.
You've got to be better in all three areas of life, which of course are spiritual, mental, and physical. You must be able to discipline yourself. If you don't learn but one thing out of football, it'll be worthwhile. There's certain sacrifices that you will have to make. There are going to be many sacrifices you have to make in later life. To fight. Oh, I don't mean fist fight. I mean to get up and come back and get up and come back and get up and come back again after you've been knocked down. And that could happen to you in later life. But if it does, you're going to know how to handle it. There's no one that ever has or ever will accomplish anything alone. I've read about self-made men. That's Tommy rot, as far as I'm concerned. I don't even know how to define intangibles. And I know that if you learn these lessons, you'll have it. And if you have it, you'll win, and you'll be better prepared in those 3 areas of life that we've been talking about. That there are going to be times for everyone that you're going to get discouraged. But if you never lose sight of your objective and never give up on yourself, if we do that as a team, 11 at a time, 4 years from now, why,